What was like the response after that happened? I saw the clip. What was like the internet's response? And they're all saying facts to what you
Oh
just said.
my gosh, it was just crazy. Like ESPN Sports Center, blam, blam, blam. Just reporters saying vulgar, crazy things towards me.
Guys, hello, welcome and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Geneva. This is Geneva in General. And guys, one of our WNBA's favorite bad girls, okay, none other than Chennedy Carter, aka Who Gonna Guard Her, has done an interview, okay, with a pretty popular YouTuber here on YouTube by the name of Neon. And they had a little 1v1 game. It was really cute. He was able to pick her brain a little bit about this, that, and the third. But one thing that I found interesting about the interview is how she explains the whole controversy surrounding the flagrant foul that she received, okay, when she had, made contact with Caitlin Clark. This was like last June. I want to say late May, early June of last WNBA's 2024 season. And like in her response, again, like in this entire interview, she just had so much poise, so much maturity, so much leadership, and just obviously skill. Okay, she beat him in a 1v1. Nobody was playing defense, but hey, it is what it is, right? And it's like I just can't help but to state this fact over and over again. Chennedy Carter deserves to have on, if not a Chicago Sky jersey, she deserves to be in the WNBA. This is an article brought to you by Sports Illustrated, and it is titled Chennedy Carter clears air about controversial Caitlin Clark flagrant foul. During a June 1st, so it was June 1st, 2024 WNBA game between the Chicago Sky and Indiana Fever Sky guard Chennedy Carter intentionally hip-checked Fever superstar Caitlin Clark after making a basket, sending Clark sprawling to the floor. Carter ultimately received a flagrant foul on Clark, and this decision sparked a ton of controversy and debate about how Clark was getting treated as a rookie. Carter was featured on an April 20th video from popular streamer Neon, and at one point in the video, Carter opened up about this incident with Clark. So in basketball a little bit, there's things called talking smack. There's a part of basketball. I think a play before, maybe I was elbowed. Okay, that happens. I think the next play down, maybe something was said, and then maybe there was a little clip of somebody on my face, Carter said, per a Twitter post. And then we go down in the court, and then I hit a little bucket, and then I just, give her a little like, I'm here. She later added, it happens in basketball. And it's just one of those things. So, yeah, that's kind of what happened. And then it spiraled out of control. But, yeah, it was a nice little tap. I'm here not to harm Clark or anything. Carter concluded with, it's just one of those things. I'm a great player. She's a great player. It looks a certain way. Everybody's going to have their views on it. But my personal view is I don't have anything against her. She's a great player, and so am I. Again, it was a pretty good, interesting interview. I gotta rewatch some things. Again, I was at work. I was at work only a couple hours. I had back-to-back appointments. I left early at work at 12 o'clock noon to come here to, meet TMO to get inventory of my items. I done took 2 naps already. I went to the grocery store, got a little bit of food for today and tomorrow. I couldn't even be in the grocery store that long. I literally just got some items. I'm gonna make a salad, some spaghetti or something. I don't know. Because again, I'm like so lethargic today. I don't know what's wrong with me. But again, this interview was pretty decent. But I ain't gonna lie, Chennedy Carter kind of lacked accountability when she was like, I gave her a little tap. That was not a little tap that you gave Caitlin, ma'am. Okay, the girl literally sprawled out, like fell to the court. Okay, she got thrown to the court, low key. Okay, you kind of hip checked her and looked like you yelled something explicitive. Okay, like a curse word, perhaps, possibly. Okay, I'm not a professional mouth reader, but it seemed like the game was like you was feeling some type of way, like you was getting aggressive and passionate, and that's okay. But it's like, I'm just glad that she came out and cleared the air. I wish she would have did this during that time because again, after that the post game interview, Chennedy Carter was like, very like, I don't want to say stuck up. She was very arrogant. She was just like, I'm not answering no Caitlin Clark questions. When people were trying to ask her about like, her hip checking her and like her being thrown to the floor, she was like, I'm not answering any Caitlin Clark questions, and she kept it moving. And like again, like things like that, those little like, again, like she has the right to answer what questions she wants to, but it's like at least try to explain, like I was just like aggressive, like pretty much what I'm saying is if she would have said then what she's saying now. What I'm trying to say is if Chennedy Carter would have said what she's saying now in this interview back then, she probably could have possibly saved her job, right? Like if she would, like again, like she just came out and said like she's a great player. I'm a great player. Things just got intense. Things just we're both passionate. We're just very competitive women. Woo, woo, woo. That's what she should have said in that interview. She was just like a freaking brick wall. Like I'm not answering no Caitlin Clark questions. Like you ain't even gonna explain this flagrant foul, okay, that was placed upon you because you didn't hip check Caitlin. Again, no team in the WNBA has even hinted at possibly trying to sign her again. I thought like if Chicago don't want her, maybe the Golden State Valkyries, perhaps she could be a good fit for them. They was like no, they said the Golden State Valkyries hate Americans. Okay, if you guys have not been tuned into the last WNBA draft last Monday. Okay, for the 2025 season, Paige Beckers went #1 overall draft pick. She got selected to the Dallas Wings. The Golden State Valkyries was literally like only choosing like freaking foreign players. Again, ain't nothing wrong with it, but everybody was like, clowning, saying like the Golden State Valkyries hit Americans, even though they got Tiffany Hayes, they got Kate Martin, they got Veronica Burton, who used to be in the Connecticut Sun. But in that draft last week, it was just like everybody was just not American. Again, Chennedy Carter is not a thug, a gangster, or whatever. I believe again, like she was. This was last year. She was 25. Again, people say like at 25, your frontal vortal cortex in your brain it begins to form. Okay, like you're not as impulsive. Okay, but it's like it is what it is. Like she was raised, by her father. She has older brothers. They raised her to be aggressive and like be excellent on that court. It is what it is. But again, I just wish she would have said what she just said in this interview with Neon to those interviewers in that post-game interview after Hipcheck and Clark last season, and perhaps maybe we would still see her in the WNBA. I believe that Chennedy Carter has accepted her fate, that she will no longer be a WNBA player, which just it sucks. But again, like she can still make her money overseas playing basketball, perhaps make more money. But it's not just about the money, okay? Like, yeah, I can sign a 6-month contract, make $300, $400, $500, perhaps $1 million over there in Russia. Please don't go over there no more, ladies. Y'all say what happened with Brittany Griner. But in Turkey, Spain, China, things of this nature. But it's like the WNBA is special. One, it's American, right? You don't have to travel out the country. And also, it's like it's the highest level of women's basketball in the world. Okay, even though they get paid, lower salaries here than overseas, which hopefully soon that'll change with the new CBA deal negotiations that they'll be making in the 2026 year, next year. But it's like, again, like, honestly, if I was a professional women's basketball player, I would just use like, my overseas, I would only play overseas, like, during the WNBA's off season, just to get my money up, just to stack bread. I'll be working hard on my skills, making sure I got endorsements. Sometimes I wouldn't want to, perhaps like, spend 3 months during the off season to be overseas playing ball. But like, are you crazy? If I was a professional women basketball player, every April come May, I'm at somebody's training camp on the states, like the state side. If I'm going to compete with women at the highest level, if I want to be taken serious, if I want my name out there, if I really want to be like, that girl, I need to be in the WNBA, point blank, period. Again, it seems like Chennedy Carter understands and accepts her fate. Okay, her fate is sealed. It is what it is. It was what it was. It will be what it will be. And, again, perhaps we get to see Chennedy Carter some other time, soon overseas, hopefully in the WNBA. But again, it's like my predictions, the way it's looking. I fear that Chennedy Carter, we may never see her in the WNBA.